How's it going, everybody? Well, it's day number 2 of the Q&A answer video. So if you did not hear your answers or your question answered in the last video, stay tuned because I'm going to answer your question today. So let's jump right into it. This is an interesting one. 57 Fitter. Hi, Mike. I was surprised to realize that New York has the most dairies on my list of subscriptions. I would have guessed it'd be Wisconsin or Minnesota, but no, it's New York. Andy and family, Claudia and family, and you and folks. I don't watch that many farmers from India, which is where I am from, but seek out other little differences in my operation. So do you watch any other dairies from your state, from farther out, interesting differences? I'm very, being in New York, I think there's a lot of good YouTube channels right here in New York. You know, you mentioned Andy and Farming, Fixing, Fabricating. Hands down, I think is one of the top, if not top, farming channels. I know, and that's no disrespect to like Zach or Welker Farms or anything like that, Millennial Farmer. Those guys have great channels and everything. But I always said a dairy farm has the upper hand because there's so much going on in a dairy farm. It is year round. We're not, and like I said, I'm not being snooty towards those other channels being seasonal, but you have your busier times and slower times with those type of grain farms, whereas a dairy farm like mine or like Andy's, we get right into it. Let's just pick up in the springtime, doing our spring tillage, getting the planting done. It rolls right into chopping alfalfa for haylage. We roll right into hay, baling hay, round bales, and then we're back to chopping. And Andy does a lot of the wheat so he can get straw, so he rolls right into that, and the whole summer is baling and chopping some sort of hay, so you're always out mowing, whatever, merging. And then when the fall rolls around and now we're chopping corn, and then you're combining corn, and we're combining soybeans, and it really takes you right to the end of the year, and there's just so much. And that's just out in the field. Then you can mix in the manure, you can mix in the barn work, and there's just so much to do with it. So excuse me, I got this bad cough I'm trying to work on. But my opinion, I think Andy Horrigan has probably one of the best YouTube channels, agriculture YouTube channels. I really enjoy his content. Grumpy Farmer does a great job, grain business. I really enjoy his content. Duffy just moved to New York, has got a farm in New York. He has a great channel. As far as another dairy farm in another state, Kip Ziegler Farming, I believe he's in Michigan. I really enjoy his channel. Great look at dairy farming in another state. He's bigger. He's smaller than Andy, but bigger than us. And it's good to see the different sizes in dairy farming. It's like we're all telling a different story on different levels here. So it's really cool. Yeah, like I said, so many good channels just here in New York. There's good farming channels all over, really. I do enjoy the New York ones. Tom, The Way We Farm, he's got a great channel. He's green. I mentioned Duffy and Andy and the other Andy, Kip Ziegler, Jeff Ramone, One Happy Farmer. He's got a great channel, and he doesn't just show John Deere's because he doesn't have John Deere's. He's got the nice blue tractor, so it's something different because we all kind of have some John Deere tractors in ours. But yeah, there's just so much. It is really interesting. I said in my 20,000 subscriber video, I think we all have a story to tell, and I'm just really, really happy that people want to hear my story. I really do enjoy the bigger channels, don't get me wrong, but I like, the good thing on what I like about my channel, and I know about other people's channels, is you have this interaction, kind of like we're doing right now. I like replying to the comments because it kind of gives us this interaction. The only thing, there's some people who try to put everything under an umbrella. I'm a small dairy farm. Kip's farm is a little bigger than us. Andy's is even bigger. So we're going to be similar, but we're not going to all farm the same way. So you can't sit there and look at it and say, well, Kip does it this way. Why do you do it this? You should do it that way. Or there's different ways, different areas, different soil types. There's different. There's a lot of differences. But you know what? We still are working to get to the overall goal. So yeah, there's when I've seen YouTube channels and I've read through the comments and I see people like, oh, you're the only channel, not to me, but to another channel, you're the only only farming channel I watch. And I never say anything to anyone else's comment, but you know what, I discourage that. You know, watch other farming channels, because it is really interesting to see different areas and different things that you know, different ways people do things. And so my phone's ringing. So anyway, that's a great question. Like I said, check out other people's channels. You know, I've had a lot of people say, you know, what's your best you know, advice for a YouTube channel? And I don't overthink it, you know. Just if you make good content, you're gonna have a good channel. You have to have the right personality for it too. Some people just don't have the personality for it. It is what it is. But yeah, that's a great question. I appreciate that. That's a good one. Richard Wilkins, what's your daily herd milk average? Mike Penner, what is your herd's average? Right now our herd average is hovering around 80. It's not where we want it. Obviously we'd like it a lot higher. I think every dairyman, no matter where their herd average is, they'd like it a little higher. But we've been working extensively with our nutritionist, and we're seeing positive results. We've tinkered some stuff. Alyssa's great, and I think she's got it dialed in. So I think we got things on the right track. So hopefully it just keeps on going up. So. Mark Fleck wants to know, how are your cows doing this winter? Is your milk numbers up with the cold temperatures? Also love the videos. Great content at all times. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. I just touched on that with the numbers and everything. They're doing all right. They're doing average, but like I said, they're on the way up, which is a good positive sign. So hopefully we can continue that upward trend, and that would be a good thing. So. Here's a good question. Morgan Ott wants to know, my question is, are you looking at robotic milkers as a future investment? I'm well aware of the price tag, but would like to know what you think about it. Great idea, Mike. And I love I love watching your channel. Morgan, I appreciate it. You know, I know when I post a video, I know you're going to be right there commenting, and I really do appreciate the support. That's very big to me. The support I get from my subscribers is very big to me. Robotic milkers, I would never dismiss it, and I think robotic milking is a really cool idea. Especially in our situation, I've said many times, I've gotten a lot of messages from different people all over the world that have said, I'd love to come work for you. And I said, well, we don't hire off the farm staff. Everyone here is a part owner, and is family and part owner that works here. So, you know, we don't hire outside staff. We're not a big farm that's going to be hiring staff. I really don't want to get to the point. I'd like to upgrade the farm a little bit and expand the farm a little bit, but I don't want to get to the point where I'm hiring a lot of outside staff. Nothing against that. I understand that's just the way bigger farms are going to have to work. There's no way a big farm could do all they could do without hiring outside staff. I get that. It's just not a road I want to go down. So with that said, robotic milking, that's where robotic milking could help out, because that's going to take that labor away. I have a neighbor who has two Lely. I don't remember if they're A4s or A5s. I can't remember when he put them in. Beautiful barn, two great robots. He seems very happy with them. His numbers are good. He's got really nice cows, and yeah, Chuck and Andy and Jesse are doing a great job with it, and I would not be opposed to it if the time is right, if everything comes together and it's time to expand. And you know, honestly, I'd be fool if we were going to expand and do a different barn, a freestall barn. You know, it'd be foolish not to look into it. That doesn't mean you have to go with it, but to not price it out and go with it, it'd be foolish not to. You know what I mean? So, good question, Morgan. Definitely not out of the realm of possibility, but I mean, you know, you never know. And we're going to parlay that right into this one. Barney, is it Goddard? I hope I'm saying it right. Does your wife work outside the farm? Do you have any siblings? And if so, are they on the farm? My cousin Chuck Mraz, who I just mentioned with that robotic dairy, lives about 8 miles. Yeah, he's about 8 miles away, I think, from you. Pretty close. He lives in Lyle. Yep. Chuck and Andy and Jesse, first off, absolutely wonderful people. Barney, you lucked out. You have a great cousin. Chuck is a wonderful man. He's a subscriber, so I hope he sees this. He doesn't comment too much, but if he'll watch a video, he'll text me sometimes. But Chuck is an absolutely wonderful guy, great neighbor. He would do anything to help you if you were in a pinch. He's got two great kids, Andy and Jesse. Jesse just had a little baby, so Andy's got a couple kids with his wife, and Jesse just had a little baby, so his grandchildren are growing, and it's great to see that family expanding. But yeah, Chuck has an absolutely beautiful farm. Like I said, I don't know if they're A4s or A5s, but they're two Laleys. They got the Juno feed pusher, and it's just got a beautiful barn, and it's well run. Oh, and to answer your other question, Barney, yes, my wife does. My wife is a nurse, so she worked at the local doctor's office in town for many, many years, and she left that a couple years ago, and now is working for the VA. So she's a nurse for veterans. And I'm going to tie that together with this one. Louis Gorman, would you ever consider putting in a small parlor? And Louis, I'm going to tie that in with Morgan's question about the robots. If we decide going forward that it's time to expand the farm a little bit, to expand and put in a free stall, or even if it's just the fact that, I don't know how we do it with a tie stall barn, but even if we got to the point where it's like, the milking equipment's just getting too old, it's hard to find parts, and it's time to do something else. If we reach the point where it was time for something else, I would definitely consider it a small parlor. I mean, the getting up and down, I think the video I just posted of doing the winter's day in the barn, yeah, somebody commented about getting up and down, and yeah, there's days my knee is pretty stiff, and my dad has had knee surgeries already, so it's, knock on wood, I have not had to go under the knife or anything. I really hope I don't have to. Excuse me, but I would definitely consider a small parlor. I mean, anything, you have to consider all options. When we go to, I'll tell this story real quick. When we were looking at another tractor, our 4055 was our big tractor, and we ended up buying the New Holland FP240. We had a mishap with we had a New Holland 900. We had a mishap with that. Clinton brought us down a 240. That's what they had in the lot ready to go, so they brought it down. It was used. We chopped with it. It did a phenomenal job. We had a price. Basically, they brought us a price. Here's what a brand new 230 is going to be. Here's what that 240 is going to be. And I'm looking at it. I'm like, we might as well go with the 240. We're never going to outgrow it. It's just as much, as big a chopper as we'll ever need. So, and I said, no matter what we get, though, we need another tractor. So we were looking at tractors. We ended up looking at, went up to Casanova Equipment, and we looked at a 8220 that they had on the line. Just a little out of our price range, just a tad. And but I remember talking to the dealer at the time, and he's like, and him was like, it wasn't Ben then, it was a different dealer, and he said, well, isn't that tractor a little too big for you? And that's 18220, I think was 180 PTO horsepower, somewhere around there. And I said, well, yeah, it might be too big now, but down the road it's going to be fine. Then we ended up going with the 4555, which has been turned up before we got it. When we dynoed it, it was running at 200 PTO horsepower. So it's funny he said that. We ended up going with a bigger tractor. So generally, we try to not just make a purchase. We try to make that purchase for not just the now, but the future. To me, it doesn't make a difference. I mean, sometimes you have to. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you have to make a major purchase for the now to get by. But for the most part, how we kind of try to figure it is when you make that major purchase, you don't just look at the now. You're trying to look at it down the road too, and how is it going to affect down the road. Bodie Hot wants to know, are your cows registered? If so, do you classify? When I was younger, like a teenager, our cows were registered, and slowly but surely, we just got out of registering them. I don't think any of them are registered right now. No. No, they're not registered. We're not into the cow selling business. We try to keep our cows for ourselves pretty much, and milk them. We're not, like I said, we're not into raising cows to sell. So yeah. D6 Joe wants to know, how is the motorized feed cart working out? It is working out great. It's been a wonderful purchase. Feeding has gotten done so much faster. When you can increase productivity and decrease your physical wear and tear, that's just such a win-win. It was probably the easiest decision we made, getting that. Why it took so long, I don't know. And no sense dwelling on the past. It's all about looking forward. And it was just a great purchase. And someone commented one time, "Oh, you really tool around the barn pretty good with that thing." When you take the same path multiple times, you kind of get used to it. Where you got to turn and stuff like that, how sharp you got to turn. The first couple of days, it was like a demolition derby banging around. That thing's quite resistant. I will say that. And there's times when I still will be looking at something else and tap something, tap a wall, tap something. So. But the cart itself has been absolutely wonderful, and I think we're the only ones around here that didn't have one. But if there was another farm like us that doesn't have one, I would highly recommend them. Okay, Chris Ulrich wants to know, "Hi Mike, sorry if it's been asked too many times, but is the John Deere 7810 your favorite tractor? Thanks, CJ." It doesn't matter how many times it asks. It's not like it's a huge deal, but no need to be sorry about that. The John Deere 7810. The 2 series of tractors I really like the old Soundguard John Deeres, the 40 series, even the 30 series, the 30, the 40, the 50, the 55, even the later, the larger frame ones, the 60s. They're just very sharp tractors. The 7010 series, the 8010 series, 6010 series, something about them, especially the 7 and the 8s, just something about them. They just, we never had one. I always wanted one. They just look like just absolutely beautiful tractors. I love the way they have the numbers with like the black shading. That looks really cool on the logo. The tractors themselves with a square cab. I just really like the looks of the tractors. And the 7010 series. The 7810 was the biggest one, so I always said, it'd be great to have a 7810, and then having the 540 and the 1000 PTO, that's such a versatile tractor, and I just think it's it's got a lot of power. Easily a 7810 on this farm, what we could do with it is just about anything. I could put it on our grain cart. If the 45 went down. Now, technically, if I had a 7810, the 4555, like I said earlier in the video, is running 200 PTO horsepower, so the 45 would actually be more power. But let's say the 45 went down, we could put the 7810 on the chopper. We could pull the wagons with it. We could disc with it. We could Ted hay with it. Put it on the round baler. Just there's anything that tractor can do. It's not going to be too big. It's not like putting raking obviously would be a little much for it, but there's nothing that tractor couldn't do. And it's just, on this farm anyway, we're not hooking it up. I wouldn't say, you should hook it up to a 24-row planter, or you should, hook it up to a 30-foot disc, Landau disc, and sink them in. Obviously it's not going to do that, but a beautiful tractor. I would love to get one, and this channel has turned into like everyone. I got a question one time, or a statement, more of a statement. How can you call yourself Mike P 7810? You don't have a 7810. Well, technically, it's not against the rules to call yourself. It's a channel name first off, so they didn't check in. YouTube never checked in to make sure I was legit when I picked that name to have that tractor. But it's like the pursuit of a 7810. You guys are following. You guys are on a journey with me, like Indiana Jones, going to find all those artifacts. You guys are on the journey with me, and we are farming as we go, and we are farming, doing what we can on the farm with that pursuit of the 7810. When we finally get one that day, maybe that'll be the conquest, and maybe that'll be the end of the channel. Who knows? Maybe I'll have to film a little more. So when I finally I'm sure you guys. Hopefully you guys would want to see more after I finally got it. Okay, I got it. We're done. See ya. It's been real, fellas. But all seriousness, we still talk about getting one. The only thing is, every time I think it's closer, I put about 3 or 4 things in front of it, and then it bumps it down the list, and then it moves up a little closer. And like, ooh, we could grab one of those. Oh, let's grab this. As you know, if you follow the channel, last year we had a self-propelled disc vine. We ended up trading that in for the round baler, but that needed some work, so we were going to get a different disc vine. We looked at some self-propelled disc vines. My dad really liked the self-propelled. I'm not going to lie, running a self-propelled disc vine, the 15-foot mower we got now and the 15-foot self-propelled, it's the same size head. So it's not like we were like, oh, we went backwards as far as size of cut. We kind of just stayed the same, which is good. But someone asked me over the summer, like, why'd you get such a big pull type mower? It's like, well, it replaced a big self-propelled, so that's kind of why we went with that. But I was pushing more for the pull type, and the reasoning was I knew we'd be short a tractor and we would need another tractor, and having too many tractors is like having too much money. I haven't heard anyone say that that's a problem yet, so I don't know. We shall see. Greg Wagner wants to know, was last year's crop good enough for you to purchase the coveted 7810 this year? The crops, our soybeans didn't do as good. The corn did pretty good. The soybeans didn't do as good. As far as getting the 7810, like I said, every time I think the 7810's close, it's within my reach. Something comes and pushes it a little farther. It's the fun game of life where it's like, oh, what was it? There was like an insurance commercial where the old guy had the dollar bill on the fishing hook, and he goes to the girl, oh, you almost had it. Oh, you almost had it. That's the game of life. There's that old man. He's sitting there with a 7810 tractor with a fishing hook right in front of me, and then every time I try to let my guard down and grab it, he goes, oh, almost had it. And that old man's got quicker reflexes than me. But Faceman96, hi Mike, I grew up on a dairy farm just north of you near Utica, New York. Back then no one grew soybeans, and now they're everywhere. I was wondering how do you use soybeans in your crop rotation? Also have noticed that dairy people using beef on the dairy. Would you ever consider using with your cows? So, excuse me there. Soybeans are a good rotation with corn. On our grain ground, the one we use for grain, and the ground I guess we chop. We alternate corn and soybeans yearly. On the ground, sod ground that we will plow up, we'll put corn in it for a couple years to really break down that sod before we put it back to either alfalfa or grass, depending on if it's going to be for haylage or hay. But as far as chopping corn and grain corn, it's going to be it's yearly rotation. So the soybeans have just become such a good rotation with a good partner with corn in our area to rotate. So that's why you're seeing more of it. We send ours to the feed mill, and they'll use it for our feed, so that helps out that way. There's a lot of farmers that will roast them, have a roaster come out to the farm and roast them, and then they'll use it for like soybean meal or whatever. There's a really cool, I'll have to get some video of it there's a really cool like a soybean press that'll press the oil out and make it into like a soybean meal. I see it up at the farm show all the time. I'll have to get video of that, but that's really cool. And then there's, I think Pioneer's coming out. I know Pioneer has a Plenish soybean, it's called, and it's very popular with dairy farms because it's got a higher protein and butter fat content. So, excuse me. So anyway, as far as using beef on our dairy, we don't. All the cows that we milk are pure Holstein. We have black and white and red and white Holsteins. However, we have bred some cows or heifers to Angus, just to raise up some beef cows for ourselves, for the family. Nothing like we're not milking an Angus Holstein cross, or we're not milking any crosses. It's everyone that we milk is purebred Holstein, either red and white or black and white Holstein. Frank Yormi Frank Yormy Jr., I want to say. Like I said, I apologize if I get your name wrong. Keep showing the inside of the barn. Kids, cats, calves, cows, milking equipment. Show it all. I did show it all. I did an underwear commercial, and you guys said, oh, my eyes, my eyes. So I'm calling you out on that, Frank, with the whole show, in all seriousness. Like the barn my family had back in Michigan. And then Jeff, One Happy Farmer, said, I agree. And I said, I'll keep doing them as long as you stay One Happy Farmer. See, you know, that's the thing. When I go back, what I said a couple minutes ago about not being able to call myself Mike P7810 because I don't have a 7810, it's because guys like Jeff calling themselves One Happy Farmer, because if what I know about Jeff, that man is one happy farmer. So Jeff, I love Jeff's channel. If you guys don't check out Jeff Ramon. He's got a great channel. Got those blue tractors, which you know, you guys know from if you've checked out my channel before. My uncle's farm in New Jersey has the old Ford tractors that he farmed with my grandfather. So the blue tractors hold a special spot in my heart. But yes, I will keep showing. Apparently, I won't show it all, Frank. But next time I'm in the hay mow, I'll make sure to be fully clothed for everybody. So guys, that was part number 2. I'm going to stop it right there because I've got so many more questions, and maybe it's just me rambling on and on, but there's actually a couple more parts. What, Lily? What, Lily? And I have to go feed cows right now. So anyway, thank you guys so much for participating. If you still have not heard your questions yet, I'm going to feed you, don't worry. If you still have not heard your questions yet, stay tuned because there are more parts to this. So anyway, thumbs up if you like this video. Drop me a question or comment below. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you have, thumbs up to you. I totally appreciate it. I got to get this girl fed and all her partners here fed. So I will see you guys later. Have a good one, everybody. What, Lily? What, Lily?